see. Co-main event, Dan Ige, Damon Jackson. This line is Ige plus or minus 125, Damon Jackson plus 105. This line opened at Damon Jackson minus 160, so it's completely reverted. And I'm seeing for a fight that's priced at even, I'm seeing exactly what you would expect. People on both sides. Whenever I'm on social media, Facebook groups, Twitter, whatever, I see people in the Ige camp. I see people in the Damon Jackson camp. I'm really intrigued by your take, even though I think I know your take. My guess, if I know my buddy, is you're leaning the Ige side.
You'd be correct.
Okay. And I, too, am leaning the Ige side. But I think Damon Jackson is too dangerous to have anything tracked here. Am I wrong on that? Like, do you think you're going to get your toes in the water? Because you've got a guy in Dan Ige who's a black belt in BJJ, a brown belt in judo, and you are getting him at an extremely cheap price for a 31-year-old because of the Korean zombie Josh Emmett, who's currently fighting for an interim belt, and a Movsar Evelev unanimous loss. But we're forgetting about the guy who beat up on Mizrad Bektic, knocked out Gavin Tucker clean, beat Edson Barbosa. So there's two sides to this coin, and a guy who's an extremely weathered UFC veteran, and at the age of 31, Damon Jackson is a very refreshing taste compared to Movsar. But Damon Jackson, I think, absolute ripper, dude. That Pat Sabatini caught us both by surprise. That was crazy.
Oh, big time. Big time. So, that was not how I expected that fight to go.
So outside of
covered it. For me,
outside of Ilya Topuria, Dan, outside of Ilya Topuria, Damon Jackson has won his last 6.
Yeah, but you line up Cam Kirk and Dan Argueta and Charles Rosa, and Ige's got first round knockouts too.
Yeah, that's fair.
For me, I think you outlined it. Ige is still that dude. He's done no favors to himself by accepting only murderer's row for every single fight he's ever been in. And I think that this is probably the highest the Damon Jackson stock could ever be, and maybe the lowest the Dan Ige stock could ever be. And that's why we're getting a plus in front of it when I line this like really Ige minus 180.
Yeah. See, I had it a little lower. I think you take a similar approach, but before taping and before finding out the lines, we've usually done set the spread for the main card, so we kind of find them out. But I like to look at what I imagine the line is, because we come in to set the spread with like what the line we think it is. And I had Dan Ige minus 160. So to see what you're saying makes sense. My fear is I thought the same thing with Pat Sabatini. And so are we misreading Damon Jackson, or
Ige is so much more game on the feet than Sabatini is. Sabatini is a guy that absolutely needs the fight to be going his way to win. Ige's game everywhere. We saw Ige. I mean, he had multiple takedowns against Cater. Was back and forth in that fight. I mean, he's been game in every single fight he's been in, despite fighting the killer, like literally some of the most.
Oh, he has. I mean, going to unanimous decisions with the likes of Josh Emmett, a guy who is fighting for the interim belt, Calvin Cater, Korean Zombie. I mean, even if they're the 49, 46s or whatever, I mean, you have a guy who is getting very valuable rounds in, holding his own, that I'm kind of with you. I think all those guys do a lot more damage on Damon Jackson. So again, what do you have here? What do you think about?
I think I'm going to play Ige for 2 units as well.
Wow. This is actually kind of a meaty card for DanKwagers. And I like it too, because we're agreeing on a lot of it. And whenever we've agreed, it has usually bode well for us.